Good afternoon and welcome to Symbiosis Skills and Professional University event. Today we are fortunate to have Mr. Abhay Jere, who is Chief Innovation Officer with Government of India, Ministry of HRD. So formerly actually, so now it's Ministry of Education. So I thank Mr. Abhay for sparing his precious time as he's quite busy back to back, and hats off to his energy that he has accepted kindly to address our students, and students will definitely benefit from his experience, his guidance, his thoughts. I welcome Abhay Jere. Abhay sir, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. So we can wait for a few more minutes. So because just before 3 minutes, one session, earlier session is over. Now students are in switching mode. We are using different
So
platforms.
what is the duration of the session?
Yeah, it's around 1 hour, but it's not like hard and fast, so we can extend it.
No. On the contrary, 1 hour is too much. Online 1 hour is too much because it's very difficult to listen to someone for 1 hour.
The students are very enthusiastic in that way. They are eager to hear, learn about this innovation and what are the opportunities, how they can make career and different stories. So in this connection, I am organizing, rather I have organized few more sessions earlier also, and few more sessions are in plan. So I think Rajkumar sir,
yes,
can
sir.
we start? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So please assign rights to Abhay sir.
Sir, already done, sir.
Okay.
Okay. Good afternoon, all. It gives me immense pleasure to introduce to you guys our chief guest for today's session, today's webinar, Mr. Abhay Jere, sir. Sir is the Chief Innovation Officer at Ministry of Education, Government of India. He has conceptualized Smart India Hackathon initiative and also established Institute Innovation Council in more than 1,500 institutions. Sir has conceptualized national innovation and startup policy for faculty and students as well as Atal ranking of institution on innovation achievements. So it's a pleasure to have you, sir. I'm sure that the students will gain a lot of knowledge and information from you. Eagerly awaiting for your session, sir.
Hello?
Yes, sir. You're audible, sir.
Okay, good. First of all, I would really like to thank Symbiosis Skill and Professional University, Fatak sir, for inviting me here for this session. Miss Swati Mujumdar is a very close dear friend. And I'm very, very impressed by her passion to run this institute in best of the fashion with highest standards and ensure that student get best of the training at Symbiosis Skills and Professional University. Last year, I used to visit your university quite frequently. And as I said earlier, I'm very impressed by the dedication of faculty members, staff, which is there, which are keen on ensuring a successful career for the enrolled students. So thanks once again. When Fatak sir called me and said that, Abhay, we want you to talk about innovation and entrepreneurship, to our students, I was very delighted because I'm very keen on ensuring that our youngsters take this path because they are the only hope when it comes to innovation and entrepreneurship for this country. To be honest with you all, people like us, gray hairs, having 20, 25 years of experience in life, are dead brains when it comes to innovation, out of box thinking, ideation, and so on and so forth. We can always think incrementally. But I really don't know that how many of us are really capable of thinking out of box. And out of that small percentage who is capable of thinking out of box, there will be a very, very minuscule percentage which will actually pursue that out of box thinking and convert that idea into something very tangible. So you are our best hope because you can think out of box and you don't carry the baggage. So large number of you people can actually take your idea forward and concretize those ideas. So from that perspective, talking with people like you, youngsters, is going to be very critical, is critical for this country. And I'm glad that this opportunity. Dear friends, as Modi ji has already said at multiple occasions, that our primary goal now is Atmanirbhar Bharat. And when we talking about Atmanirbhar Bharat, we are talking about generating ideas which will solve our own problems, which will solve or which will create opportunities for us, and which will also give solutions for the global community. But for me, Atmanirbhar Bharat is not just confining ourselves to India, but we need to generate ideas which will have global impact. Because once we will generate ideas which will have global impact, we will able to create wealth for this country, which is linked to our $5 trillion economic goal. Because if we have to emerge as $5 trillion economy, then we have to emerge as knowledge-based society, as knowledge-based economy. And if we have to emerge as knowledge-based economy, then we have to generate ideas which will not be only relevant for the country, but will be also relevant for the world. And there cannot be places that our institution, educational institutions, which can do that job for us. And from that perspective, all the students sitting here are going to be very, very critical for the country. Many times, due to our mindset, we are always in job seeking mode. But now, we have to get into job creator mode. Because due to our swallow and vomit kind of an education system, our education system which focuses on marks, which focuses on grades, have pushed us mentally in a space where we are not ready to take risks. We are risk averse. We want to take the safe bet. But in long term, this is not useful. This will not help create wealth beyond a point. We will always depend on foreign parts. But now we need to change this. We have to create ideas where we will create global impact. And for that, we really need to emulate an Israeli model of innovation and entrepreneurship. I will talk about this model also. But primarily, what we really need to emerge or evolve is problem solvers. And from that perspective, institutes like Symbiosis Skill and Professional University, which gives skills, which focuses on problem solving, has very critical role to play. Because what has happened, because of this swallow and vomit kind of an education system which we have inherited for the last 70 years, we have become good parrots. So if you ask theory, we will give the definition like in 3 Idiots, you know. But if you ask me to apply that definition or apply that theory and solve a problem, we start fumbling. And this was actually proved by a study. Ministry of Education actually conducted a study where we compared our engineers with engineers from Russia and China. And what we felt from that study, or what we realized from that study, was that when it comes to theory, our students are very good. But when we ask our students to apply that theory, they falter, they fumble. Our problem-solving skills, our design thinking skills, our cognitive skills, our communication skills are terrible. And because of that, we end up looking at others to solve our problem. Sometimes we blame government. Sometimes we blame local agencies. Sometimes we blame private organizations. We blame everyone, every other person or every other agency apart from ourselves for the problems which we are facing. And we never take it upon ourselves the job, or what we can say, the onus of solving problems. And this needs to change, because every problem solving ability or this entire thought process will help us create more and more businesses, more and more enterprises. Because at the end of the day, what is a business? It's an opportunity cost. It's an opportunity which is based on a problem. If there is a problem and it, there is a business there. And we need to capitalize on it. And we at Ministry of Education believe that students and faculty members are the best people to do it. Ideally, what is usually happens, that we as an academician sometimes are told that your job is to give education or take education. Means what? Your job or your objective is to pursue Saraswati. And if someone starts pursuing Lakshmi, then they are looked down upon. They are frowned upon. But this mindset needs to change. Because what we believe now is academicians, faculty members, students are the best people, are the most suitable lot which can perceive or which can pursue Lakshmi and Saraswati simultaneously. But for that, if that really needs to happen, we need to unshackle them. We need to have right kind of policies for them. And for that, we actually got last year National Innovation and Startup Policy for faculty and students, a very specific policy aimed at faculties and students so that we can unshackle them. And we can help them, we can promote them, we can push them for pursuing entrepreneurship while they are also doing academics. Because earlier policies were not very friendly. Some of the institutions were not permitting at all the startup or entrepreneurship for faculty. And if some institutions were permitting the kind of IP sharing structure which they had, the kind of revenue sharing model which they had, was not very encouraging. I will share with you some instances. When I was looking at IP sharing policies or revenue sharing policies or some of the institutions, I saw where an institution was asking for revenue share as high as 50% or 60%. Some institutions had 20%, undoubtedly, but that number was small. Many institutions had revenue share, asking revenue share for 50%, 60%, 40%. अगर 50% इंस्टीट्यूट निकाल लेगा पैसा, 30% इनकम टैक्स निकाल लेगा, तो फिर बचता क्या है? और कोई क्यों करेगा? So as a result of it, many of the faculty members were not keen on taking this route. But we said we have to change this. And we bought this revenue sharing to 20% with an objective that a faculty who is creating wealth for this country should able to keep that wealth for himself when he's generating it. He should be motivated to do it. Same thing is related to IP sharing. I will tell you a very funny story. I met a guy, a boy, a very energetic boy, from a very prestigious. And what he did, he started a venture in his hostel. He created his own platform and he started doing very small amount of business. So he used to, during daytime, he used to go to his college, attend his classes, do his lab and everything. At night, he used to come and he used to work on his venture. And after a few months, he started making some money, as I said. When the director came to know, I realized that he started making money. Director called him and said, "Where is our share?" तो बच्चे ने कहा, क्यों इंस्टीट्यूट को मैं पैसा क्यों दूं? मैंने इंस्टीट्यूट का कुछ फैसिलिटी यूज नहीं किया है. Because as per the policy, I only pay if institute has supported me or I have used institute's infrastructure. Director said wrong. If your product belongs to the institute or belongs to us because you are using hostel's internet. That is our facility. Because you are using hostel's internet, the IP of your idea belongs to the institute. Is this fair? This is atrocious. So we said we have to change it. Many more such things. The committees which used to evaluate IP had never experienced in IP. The dean or the director or the vice chancellor used to arm to his students, used to arm to his faculty members, and they cannot say beyond a point. So we said we have to change this. And that's when we came up with National Innovation and Startup Policy Framework, which is endorsed by AICT as well as UGC. And now we are impressing upon all major universities that they should go and form their own policy, may not be in letter, but in spirit of what we have recommended. And I'm very happy to share with you that more than 400 institutions have already formulated the policy, have done with it, and about 800 are in process of formulating the policy because they had huge pressure from faculty and students that such a policy is recommended by government why our institute is not taking action in formulating these kind of policies. We have to unshackle our students. We have to unshackle our faculty members if we want really to excel, if we want them to excel and create wealth. Very, very important. Another important thing which I have realized when it comes to innovation and entrepreneurship is that we had to tell our youngsters, we have to impress upon them that don't be afraid of failures. You are young. You can afford to fail. Don't worry about it. The kind of learnings which you will have, even after failures, will be far, far better than what you would have got if you had taken a job. And here, as I said, we need to follow, or we need to adopt the Israeli spirit of chutzpah. I don't know how many of you have heard this word, but what they follow is that they wear failure as a badge of honor. They don't stigmatize failure. And even they have a system where they celebrate failure. SPPU has organized lectures for you, webinars. I don't know how many of those webinars will be addressed by a failed entrepreneur. Because we in India are keen on chasing the people who have achieved success. But many times, I will tell you very honestly, the people try to give you answers, but many of the times they are at right time at right place, and sometimes they are even lucky. So the learnings which you get out of talking to successful people may not be as high as the learnings which you might get after talking to a failed entrepreneur. You will know what not to do, what mistakes I should avoid. And that is only possible if you actually talk to a failed entrepreneur, a sincere entrepreneur, but who has failed. I don't know how many of you are aware of forum, and don't misunderstand me for telling this here. The forum is called as Fucked Up Nights. It's a very famous Israeli forum. You can go and look into the website, Fucked Up Nights. Extremely well attended forum. And that forum actually goes ahead, organizes talks of entrepreneurs who have failed. Very well attended. Where an entrepreneur comes, he talks for 20 minutes to 30 minutes about what he tried, what was his initial success, what blunders he made, how he failed. And large number of youngsters actually learn from it. And I will request Pathakji, if Swati is also here, that instead of calling bureaucrats like us, who will only give gyan, nothing else, you should try also inviting such failed entrepreneurs. Make them talk to your youngsters. Motivate those youngsters. Because I will tell you, many times entrepreneurs fail and they get up again and they start from scratch again. And if you really look at Israeli system, especially the funding pattern, then a person who has 2 or 3 failed enterprises, actually when he goes for funding again, the chances of him getting funding actually goes up, because investors believe that he must have certainly learned a lot from his earlier failures and will not repeat those mistakes. So if a person with no failed, he's a first timer with no failed experience, and a person with 2 or 3 failures simultaneously go ask for funding for the new venture, the person with more failures has better chances of getting the funding than the person with no experience. We need to create that kind of ecosystem. If we can create that kind of mindset within our youngsters, then we will actually able to create the entrepreneurs which we all are hoping to. Sometimes when we are talking to youngsters, faculty members, when we are talking on different forums, people tell us that it's good to hear such views. But if you talk to them in private, one-on-one, then the same students will tell you, sir, ये बोलने में बहुत easy है, करने में बहुत difficult है. ज्ञान देना बहुत easy है. And they are right. Because many times we have seen students who are keen on doing entrepreneurship, who are keen on taking a different track. They get pulled down by their own family members, by their girlfriends, by their boyfriends, by even teachers. You know? And we actually thought we should solve this, we should do something about this also. Because the spouses or partners or parents will tell youngsters, the kids, maybe son or daughter, that why you want to get into this rigmarole of starting your own enterprise, going through that grunting. It's easy, better to take up a job in some of the multinational, work from 9 to 6, come home, go out for dinner, go out for a movie, enjoy your life. Entrepreneurship is 48 hours a day work, not 24, 48 hours a day work. Why you want to get into that? And even if the youngster is interested, he gets demotivated because of the constant badgering by their friends, parents, as I said, society, partners, and so on and so forth. So we said, let us start an MBA program on innovation, entrepreneurship, and venture development. It's a very unique MBA program. We are calling it an MBA program because it is easy for us to communicate, MBA and PhD. But it's not a normal classroom MBA program. It's an incubator-based MBA program, where the classroom component is only 30%. The rest all is an incubator-based program. And what we are trying now is that under this garb of MBA, students will come in groups and pursue their entrepreneurship. We will give them right mentors because this is an incubator-based program. So, if you are successful, you emerge as a successful entrepreneur. If you are a failed, at least you have learned those concepts and you emerge as intrapreneurs. And what you can tell your parents or your parents can tell others that my student is actually pursuing MBA. तो लोगों को लगता है कि उसका बच्चा MBA कर रहा है या खुद बच्चा भी बोलता है कि मैं MBA कर रहा हूँ. But under the garb of that MBA, actually students pursue entrepreneurship. So we did this pilot in 4 institutes. We got some good success. There were some suggestions, so we are modifying also. But now this year, we are rolling out this program in another 50 institutions. And we hope that in next 2 years, this model will get further consolidated and we can roll it across the country so that youngsters can simultaneously become entrepreneurs and get an MBA degree. Because unfortunately, in India, the social pressures on our youngsters are pretty high. I will request SPPU to actually SPPU, to look into this kind of program, explore the possibility of starting such program in your institute. Next time when the advertisement is out from AICT, and actually explore the getting students so that we can also, your university can also promote entrepreneurship within your campus in a very, very systematic fashion. I hope I have spoken now for more than 37 minutes. Monologue is extremely very boring. So if we can convert this into a dialogue where I can answer some of the questions, I will be more than happy to answer these questions from you. I will be more than happy to take some questions. So thanks for inviting me here and giving me an opportunity to interact with you all.
Thank you, Abhay. And it was really a mind-blowing thoughts and lecture. And at this time also students, I know they are very enthusiastic, and certainly this interactive session will be very useful to them. Rajkumar sir, can you take up some questions in the chat box?
If there are any.
Yes, sir. I would request all the students, if you have any doubt, you can put it in the chat box or you can unmute yourself and directly ask.
Yeah, students, you can unmute yourself and have a interaction with Abhay sir. It is like a rare opportunity to interact with Abhay sir, and you are really lucky. Yeah, Sahil wants to ask. Yeah, Sahil.
So, good evening, sir. Myself Sahil. I'm from BSc Data Science, second year. So, I wanted to ask when you talk about entrepreneurship and innovation. So, my doubt is how important is the role of innovation in entrepreneurship? Because even if we think of many ideas, like I have 3-4 ideas in my mind, but the amount of innovation it has is not more than like maybe 20% or something. But yeah, that's what my question is, like the things are implemented already, like people have failed into same things, like doing same things. So how important is to innovate into that, and like how important is the role of innovation in entrepreneurship while starting any new thing or starting up? That my question is.
See, how important is the role of innovation in starting a venture? That's the question you want to ask. And I would say, if the more innovative you are, the success is going to be better. That's so importance of innovation is certainly there. If you're going to get into Me Too kind of a business, okay, जैसा भी e-commerce है, everyone is in e-commerce business. There is no that way innovation in terms of e-commerce which is there. Many start initially customer acquisition was the innovative way. People did a lot of things to acquire customers. That was the innovation which was there. But eventually that also became Me Too. And now based on the business opportunities, people are either succeeding or failing. So you see many e-commerce platforms which are out there or which were out there have failed because there was no innovation in that. And it was only the financial might which eventually mattered. But if you had innovation, okay, then your success or the success of these companies or these enterprises are going to go very high. And it could be process innovation. It would be application innovation. Okay? Means, see, there are three components usually when it comes to innovation. Your material, your process, or the application. Okay? Three important things. And any one of them is different or new. It's called as innovation. So new material, same process, same application is innovation. Same material, same process, or same application, same material, but different process innovation. So looking at an enterprise, you need to really ask, how I am going to be different than the other, which is already out there. So it could be in terms of process. Process means you could be more efficient. And improving the efficiency or getting the right efficiency is innovation. Means, for example, if you really look at Big Bazaar and DMart prevailed because the processes which they implemented were much more efficient compared to some of the other chains. So the process innovation was certainly there. It may be small, which you may not able to document or which you will not able to attribute that importance to. But innovation is certainly there. Okay? So you really need to ask, what is the differentiator? What is your differentiator? And if you are in Me Too kind of a business, then your success or your chances of success are going to be low as compared to innovative businesses. I hope I have answered your question.
Yes, sir. Sure. Thank you.
So there is one question in the chat box. It's from Anurag. He's asking, should we start a company from scratch or get exclusive rights of that company of similar interests?
It depends upon, see, these are not questions very easy to answer. It depends upon case by case. If you have a very, very exclusive idea, then start your own company. You have money, and if you can identify a potential, then you can go ahead and buy a company and run that company. Or if you feel that your personality is good at running businesses rather than innovating, you collaborate with an innovator. Ask him to transfer rights to you and even with the business, because innovation or innovating entire methodology, that's a completely different thought process. And running a business is completely different thought process. And sometimes what happens is that innovator tries to become an entrepreneur or tries to run a business. Mindset running a business is very different. So he could be a great innovator, but he could be a very, very poor businessman. Or the other way around. Some could be really good businessmen, but they could be really poor innovators. So person needs to identify his own strength. So if someone is a good innovator, he should say that I will focus on innovation, I will focus on ideation, and I will transfer the rights to someone else, and someone else can run with that idea and create a business out of it and just pay me the royalty. Someone can actually say, I'm good at learning businesses. I will collaborate with an innovator. I will pay him a royalty, but I will run the business. So there could be multiple such models which could be evolved. And so it's very difficult to answer such questions. These questions are more abstract questions, what you are asking.
Okay. Sir, there is one more question. The student, he wants to know whether work experience is required to to pursue MBA in this entrepreneurship.
No, work experience is not required.
And sir, Omkar wants to know what is funding A or B round during investor meetings.
Funding, round A, round B, round C. Okay. So round A is where you actually get into when you have done your ideas, you want to actually create a prototype. Once your prototype is also ready, in a sense, okay, and you want to do first alpha testing, beta testing, kind of a first round, then you actually get into round A funding, and round B funding is when you really want to scale up.
Hello, sir. Good afternoon. I want to ask one question. I am basically Professor Ruchu Kuthyala, and I am a practicing clinical nutritionist. First of all, I would like to say thank you. Your session was really wonderful. So,
okay, thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, sir. Sir, I got this question in mind that we always say that, being an entrepreneur means you should be surviving. But practically, I would like to ask you, since, everybody faces a financial crunch because in entrepreneurship, there is a risk factor which is involved. So according to your expertise, if I am not doing well in my entrepreneurship journey, even for 4 years or 5 years, that means whatever I have invested, forgetting about profit, but I'm not getting any returns. Perhaps I'm going in loss. So according to your expertise, even after 4-5 years, I should be surviving and continuing with it, or shall I, switch to some other idea or like what? Just if you could throw some light on it.
See, it's a very difficult question to reply. I will tell you why the reason is. It depends upon business to business, business model to business model. For example, YouTube started turning profitable after 20 years, 15, 20 years. Uber, they are saying, God knows when they will get profitable, right? So if you're just saying that the only, what we can say, the criteria for determining the success of a business is immediate profitability. I'm using the word immediate profitability. Then it may not be the right parameter. What you can do is whether you are attracting right kind of customers and right kind of investors to invest in your venture, and whether your business plan is robust enough for investors to have faith in your business. Sometimes it's a bootstrap business where you you put money from your own pocket and start the business. But at one stage, you can certainly go out and reach out to other investors to invest in your business. Okay. And there, when these investors look at the business plan, they may not actually look at from profitability or EBITDA kya hai, ye aisa kuch nahi dekhenge. They may have a completely different parameter. They will say ki, okay, customer acquisition kya hai? Okay, uska strategy kya hai? साल के कितने customers acquire करते हैं, and so on and so forth. Like what Uber does, or like what Flipkart is doing, or Amazon is doing, and so on and so forth. So it depends upon what kind of business you are, what is the scale of that business, who is investing in that business. And that's the reason I said it's not very easy to answer such questions. If I am doing my business and I am bootstrapping it, and I am not going to go to investors, and I am not, and none of the investors are interested in investing in me, and for 4 or 5 years, I am actually just losing and losing and losing, then I don't know whether I have a right kind of business model.
Correct.
So
Very
rather
correct.
than closing a business, I will have to think on the right kind of business model.
True.
You know, I did one very interesting interview with Shraddha Sharma. Okay, Your Story founder. It's on Twitter. Just check on my timeline, and you should listen to her interview. How she started Your Story, and when it started becoming profitable, and how she was struggling to get funding, and eventually how she got the funding. It's a very interesting story. I will request you to listen to that Your Story interview.
Sure, sir. Sure.
Which I did with Shraddha Sharma.
Sure. I would go. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Anyone else, if you have any doubt, you can unmute yourself and ask directly, or you can put it in chat box also.
Okay. I don't think anyone else has any questions. So,
okay. Yes,
if you allow, we can close this.
Yes, sir. So, sir, on.
So I will once again thanks Symbiosis Skills and Professional University for inviting me and giving me this opportunity to interact with students. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Abhay. Have a great day. See you again soon in the campus. Yeah.
Okay, sir. So
yeah, students, if you have more questions to ask to Abhay, we can take up it. You can send it to me or Rajkumar sir or Gauri madam. So we will certainly interact with Abhay sir, and we are planning his face-to-face session maybe in the next month if time and the situation permits. Thank you.
okay, so on behalf of School of Automobile Engineering, I would like to thank all the students for attending this session. I would also like to thank Dr. Chaldatta Patak sir for his constant support. We are grateful to Mr. Abhay Jere sir for this wonderful session. The session definitely gave some clear insights on entrepreneurship, and I'm pretty sure that the students will definitely gain from it. So thank you, everyone. With this, I would like to end the session.